introduce. All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to How to Use Artificial Intelligence in Your Job Search. My name is Albert Chen. I'm the founder of Albert's List with Nader Molai, who's the founder of Engineer Your Mission. And we're excited to bring you today's presentation on the aptly named topic. As we were sort of discussing right before we began the recording here, AI has taken the world by storm and it is making the difference when it comes to business and when it comes to your very own job search. And so, to really talk about that today, we are hosting this webinar where we're going to cover everything from tools, tricks, tips, prompts, and everything that you need to get started. Included in that as well, we're going to talk a little bit about our program that we're launching next week as well, which is focused on deep diving into these very AI tools so that you can be effective in your job search. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Nader, who will tell you more about himself and the presentation that he's giving. Nader, it's good to have you back.
Good to be here, Albert. Thanks very much for once again hosting this event and having me, introducing me to your community and bringing me in. And my goal is hopefully, I'll offer good value and leave a lasting impression to everyone here, whether they're here to just add a few tools in their toolbox or in their AI tech stack, or if they want to get confirmation, verification on what they're already doing. Or, I actually received a lot of feedback in the chat box in terms of what people's goals are, who they are, what they do. Addressing those is gonna be my goal today. And ultimately, the best thing that Albert and I can do for those individuals that want to really take a next big step forward and learn more in depth, gain a more in-depth understanding of the tools and the strategies and the principles and the prompting solutions that we're going to be introducing you with. Some of them I'm just going to be like teasing you with it so you understand the big application. Give you an understanding, kind of like open a door for you. Not everybody would want to step into that door and go all the way through the hallway, but some, based on the feedback we received exactly a month ago when we ran this event for the first time, some wanted to actually go further. Some wanted to adopt these tools. Some wanted additional coaching. The feedback was just so humbling because that was the first time Albert and I hosted this event, and it was so positive. It was just really humbling. And since then, I've continued working on this presentation. I've modified a good 60-70% of the content. I've gone down several rabbit holes to come up with new tools, getting an account with them, reviewing them, using them, testing them, qualify or disqualify them, verify or not, to come up with a shorter list and ultimately adjust my top picks so that I can go further into actually becoming an expert in using those tools that I've selected as my top choices, and ultimately be so well versed at using them so I can start coaching others to start using it. Because as we're going to talk about today, you're going to realize that AI is only as good as the information you feed it and the prompt you provided and the communication between AI and us. And without the right strategy, principles, prompts, without clear communication, just like anything else in life or anybody else in life, AI, you'll find that it's not going to be as effective. So anyways, without further ado, let's go through the presentation today. I'll share my screen. We'll go through the first few slides, which is just building some context, sharing some principles, some foundations. I want you to put your, put your mind in the right mode, and get yourself in the right mindset. And so that when we start taking that little, because we're gonna go up a little bit, and then you're gonna dive deep into what I'm gonna share with you today. So it might feel a little bit overwhelming, but I don't want you to feel that. As we get into the middle of the presentation, you might start feeling a bit like, not insecure, but feeling like, okay, like this might be this is easy, but it seems like it's a little bit overwhelming, perhaps. What am I going to do by myself? How can I change these prompts? How can I utilize these solutions? Again, if that's you, whether you're really interested in learning these things and implementing them into your career transition, whatever's on top of your mind, maybe you actually want that additional help, We'll introduce you to additional programs, a 3-day workshop, a 3-day AI bootcamp we're running next week. So wait till the end of the presentation so we can introduce that to you, and we're gonna have some special offers, discounts, additional coaching, all that stuff as a very well put together bundle, if you will, and a special discount code that will be available only till midnight tonight, so you can take advantage of that. So, anyways, without further ado, let me share my screen and make sure we get technology to work. So I'm going to share for now only the presentation. Let me know if you see it. Let me get at least one yes in chat so I can dive deep. We can see it. Albert, thank you so much. Awesome. Perfect. So today's presentation, as you already know, it's about how we can use artificial intelligence in our job search or career transition journey. Before we actually go through the content, I want to share with you two principles, two facts. They're not my truth. They're not, objective. These are facts. This is what the real world is like. This is what's happening out there in the job market, in the hiring market, from the employer's point of view, from the hiring manager's point of view, from the recruiter's point of view. And I want you to be aware of it. And although it might be tough to accept, actually it is tough to accept. If this is the first time you're about to hear what I'm going to say in a second, it's going to be harsh. It's going to be tough to not tough to understand, maybe tough to understand, but just tough to accept. Sometimes truth hurts and facts hurt, but I want you to know that when it comes to job searching, it is rarely the most qualified person who gets interview calls. And that's the harsh reality of it. No matter what you do, it is not, no matter what your job is. I see product managers, program managers, people who work in tech, non-techies, marketing managers here, software engineers, regardless of where you are in the world or what you do or which company you work in or what your past experiences were or what your skills are. If you're in the job market looking for new opportunities, your goal number one is to get job interviews. Goal number two is to get job offers. But it is rarely, this is sad but true, it is rarely the most qualified person or the most educated person or the most skilled person or the most experienced person. It is rarely that person who gets job interviews. Instead, in the real world, it's the person who markets themselves better. So success, job search success, is dependent on your ability to market yourself better. We live in the attention economy. We've passed the industrial age, even the information age. The person who knows more is not going to get job offers. That's not the primary criteria. We're in the attention economy. TikTok brains and IG roles and YouTube shorts and LinkedIn messages, and you know it, right? That's the attention economy. To look at something for a few seconds, if it resonates with you, you look at it maybe for 5 more seconds and think about a resume. That's how resumes are looked at on average, between 4, 5, 6 seconds. And if it doesn't fit your criteria, is what really excites me, what I'm really looking for, I'm going to move on from that resume, move to someone else's. I'm going to click off that LinkedIn profile and go to someone else's. So if you really want to be successful in getting interview calls, which should be your number one goal when you're job searching, you need to improve your abilities to market yourself, to grab people's attentions. So today we're going to be talking about how you market yourself. What is the prerequisite to marketing yourself? Just building a brand. Make sure you're unique, you're differentiating yourself so you can actually grab the attention of people whom you want to attract. There's 2 parts to this equation. So we're going to be talking about that. But if you're going to write something down, and I've been practicing for this presentation, as I always do for every presentation, I look at this as an interview. I'm giving a live, live audition, live interview. So I've got notes. You should be taking notes as well, whether you're participating in a presentation or you're leading it to prepare yourself to lead a presentation, aka an interview. I want you to take notes, and if there's going to be one piece of note you're going to take on top of that first page in bold letters, it should be this statement on the screen right now. And the second statement should be this, and another tough fact, a real fact, true fact, but tough one to understand, is that it is rarely the most qualified person who gets the job offer. It's the one who interviews best. So again, qualifications, we're no longer living in a world that qualifications would get you right through, get you a job offer. I've got, a PhD. I've got these skills. I'm a Googler. I'm an Amazonian, whatever. Used to work at Meta. Like those qualifications, if you're presenting them as qualifications, if that's how you're leveraging them, I used to do this in the past. I studied here, I graduated in MIT, like if you're just leaning back on your qualifications, on how smart you are, where you work, what your knowledge is, it is not going to take you through rarely to the interview. And if you just lean on that again, sit on that, it's rarely going to be the reason why they hire you. It is the person who interviews best who gets the offer letter. This is a competition. It's a marathon. It's the Olympics. It's a game. Only one person wins. Whether you want to visualize a video game or the Olympics or a race or whatever, swimming pool, one person wins. The second person, good job, nice for you, go home, you lose. Second person does not win in the tough game of job searching. So I want you to understand and accept this no matter how tough it is. Ultimately, it is what it is. And I'm here to help you understand these things, not to discourage you. And I understand that this can be discouraging. I want you to create a level of self-awareness. Step number one is self-awareness. Step number two, after awareness, is acceptance. And these are prerequisites to step number three, which is action. As soon as we go to the next slide, we're in the action mode. We're not going to complain about how things are in the past, and we're not going to be lost in the world of what's happening. Why is no one answering me? Why am I being ghosted? Why is my resume not being responded to? As I go to the next slide, I'm assuming that we're all of us, all 97 of us that are here, we got no more excuses, because we know that if we have not received job interviews, it has to do with how we market ourselves, with a personal branding and personal marketing. And when we have not received a job offer yet, assuming you're now in the job interview stage, you're interviewing, you're just not getting a job offer. It has nothing to do with your qualifications, because if you have received a call and a request to interview, and if you're in the interview, they have already looked at your resume, they have already looked at your LinkedIn profile, they are aware of your qualifications. If you were underqualified, and that was a must-have, a criteria, they would not call you to an interview. So if you're in the interview, things that appear on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, are not the issue. You cannot blame the resume or any content you have shared with them in the past. The only thing and the only one to blame is your ability to communicate clearly. So who interviews best? The person who communicates clearly and persuades effectively. Because you have communication, then you have better communication, which is persuasion, which is getting the other person to like you and trust you. If you cannot gain the other person's liking and trust, you will not get a job offer. I guarantee you. You could be the nicest person in the world. If you're struggling, the most qualified person in the world, if you're unable to communicate clearly and confidently, which results in you effectively persuading that person to say, you know what, I like you, and I trust you. I don't think it's going to be risky for us to work together. I don't think it's going to be risky for us to hire you. I believe in your ability to gain these new skills and adapt to our environment. And we get along. I think you're going to like working with my other team members. They have to like you and trust you. And that is through your communication and persuasion abilities. With that said, that is all behind us. We are now aware of what gets us interviews, what gets us job offer. We have accepted both two facts, and we're now going into action mode. Cool. So let's go through this. What we're going to talk about today is AI-driven job search tools, primarily personal brand development tools, so you can optimize your brand and enhance your marketability, as we just discussed. Secondly, we're going to talk about job application automation, job application management, streamlining that job search process, simplifying it so you save time and you can ultimately apply the time that you now have to whether it's professional growth or personal hobbies or hanging out with family or whatever, personal. Do whatever you want with your time, as you fit, as you see best. We got to automate, streamline, accelerate. And thirdly, we'll tap into job search preparation, job interview preparation, job interview practice, so that you have the opportunity through practice to improve your communication and persuasion skills. Cool. That's the agenda for today. So we've got another, let's say, hour and 10 minutes left. My goal is to dedicate 20 minutes or so to each category, spending the next 60 minutes. And then we'll have another 10, 15 minutes for Q&A with Albert here. And then when the Q&A is done, Albert and I will introduce you to the 3-day AI bootcamp we're running next week. We'll at that point share with you how you can sign up. We'll share with you the discount code. I'll break down all the extra goodies, all the free coaching, all that stuff you're going to get. And for those who are interested at that point, we'll take a 30-minute break. And then personally on my own, I'm going to run a Q&A session on my personal Zoom link. So if you're really interested, stay with us. So at that point, I'll drop my personal Zoom meeting link into the chat. Those who are interested, they are curious, they have questions. At that point, we'll take a 30-minute break and we'll meet in my personal chat room to answer your questions and make sure you move forward with full clarity and understanding if you want to go through the bootcamp. And here I've got that. And obviously, you're going to get access to this presentation. This presentation is hosted for free. It's publicly online live. So after the presentation is done, I'll share with you the link to basically the online link to this document. I'm hosting it on gamma.app, and you'll have access to exactly what I'm looking at. We can connect, you can go through it. You just can't make any changes. No, I can't make any changes. All right, let's go through this. Let me take 2 minutes and share with you what my perspective and what my mission is. Specifically, generally speaking, but more specifically for today. My background is robotics, electronics engineering and robotics programming. I graduated in 2008, right into the last financial market crash, the housing market crash, massive recession. Some of you who are old enough, I'm turning 40 soon, may remember, what happened when we went through the last recession, last economic downturn. So right off the bat, coming out of school, I experienced tremendous hardship in setting up my career, getting the job that I really wanted, which was to become an automation engineer working within the automotive sector or the aerospace sector. That's what I grew up wanting to do. So I get it. If you guys are stuck, if you're struggling, if you're applying to many jobs, I get it. I applied to, I was job searching for 8 months before I gave up and got an entry-level job in the telecommunications sector. And from there on, again, a couple of years in telecom, I went to the IT industry in solution architecture, data networking, and, working with mobile devices. And that was cool too. But in 2012, totally by chance, by luck, it wasn't a choice. It was just me getting tired of what I was doing, being depressed with the fact that I'm not working in a job that I went to school for, feeling that I've let my parents down. My dad was still pissed off at me years later, and I just had this pit in my stomach that, you know what, I'm not fulfilling my potential. It was complete waste of my time. So again, if you're feeling these things, if you feel like you're lagging behind or you're not where you're supposed to be, trust me, I get it. I wish I had systems or tools or support structure back then, and ultimately I would have been working as an engineer today, but I didn't. So after graduating in 2008, in 2012, 4 years later, by chance, I went to a recruiting company looking for a job myself, and they offered me a job to work for them. They told me it was a risk to hire me, but they liked my personality and it was a referral for me. So totally by chance. And they hired me. And guess what? I quickly became very successful hiring engineers. Long story short, within the 2 years in that company, I became the #1 recruiter in Central and Eastern Canada among 5 or 6 different branches and over 200 recruiters. Longer story short, I left and started my own company. And from then, I started recruiting and coaching at the same time, teaching everything that I learned as a recruiter to individuals who are actively in the job market, aiming to make a transition. So today, or let's say a year ago that, I got introduced to AI and I start adopting it, I feel like I have a unique perspective because I was able to quickly adopt and understand how AI operates and how to successfully prompt it to give you what it is that you actually want it to give you as an output. So I excelled at that. And then I coupled that with my insights and my hands-on experience recruiting hundreds of professionals over 10 years. And I combined it with, again, more than 10 years of experience coaching and caring and guiding and teaching. So mixing my engineering, recruitment, career coaching as a kind of like three-step approach, it's given me a unique perspective, and it's been transformative for me as well. Obviously it's changed what I do and how I do it. And I'm going through a massive pivotal point in my career after coaching traditionally on one-on-one face-to-face person one-on-one face-to-face basis, through making this massive adoption of AI tools and pivot to doing things differently, which brings me to this presentation that you're going through right now and next week's 3-day AI workshop. So again, that I also understand, because a lot of you here, whether you have already realized it or not, you may actually have to make some sort of a pivot. It may not be a massive pivot or a 180-degree shift in your career path, but you need to be able to be more agile and think on your toes and be able to make those adjustments so that you can, stay relevant in the job market. Regardless of what you do or how you do it, there's a chance that AI technology is impacting you. So ultimately, again, my perspective is that I see people falling and crumbling. I also see people growing and adapting and thriving. So I want that for you, which brings me to my mission today, is ultimately to help you overcome massive competition. Because since AI tools were introduced, more job seekers started adopting it, started using them. So suddenly we have a lot of applicants that have like almost perfect looking applications. So as a job seeker, your competition just got tougher. Now, out on top of that, there are layoffs. And out on top of that, layoffs from massive companies, the Amazons and Googles and Metas, like Tesla just announced another round. So these allegedly top talent that have been working for years and years on these top tech companies in the world, now they're entering the job market. So these are kind of like, again, I don't want to put them on a pedestal, but I just spoke with someone who was at Tesla for like 11 years. Just amazing experience, amazing education. These are rare candidates to see in the job market. Kind of like, I hate to say alphas, but again, This is me speaking to you as a recruiter. Those are the type of candidates you rarely see, or if you contact them, they're not looking for a job. They're making great money, doing great work on, moonshot projects and fantastic companies. They are happy where they are. So these are not the type of people that a year or 2 years ago we were able to successfully recruit. Top talent, primes, like at the prime of their career. Now they're entering the market and they're also adopting AI. So you have more competition, and whatever competition you had is now a lot more prepared, a lot more tougher. So I want to help you overcome, and this is a massive mission for me. I'm confident I can do it because I've been doing it through recessions and COVID and post-COVID and layoffs. And I've been doing this coaching thing for over a decade and a half. So my mission is to introduce you to what's possible and how you can use these AI tools and applications to be able to successfully make this transition. And that transition, one of the initial steps is that ultimately we talked about, communication and marketability. So you need to start looking better and sounding better. And let me rephrase it because I specifically wrote different. Better is relative. You need to start looking and sounding and feeling different to the people you're communicating to. Because again, ultimately, every employer uses an applicant tracking system. These applicant tracking systems are now AI powered. They're a lot more smarter. They're faster. They're quicker. They're able to go through a lot more content and be able to differentiate those contents and rank them differently. So you still need to, do the good old keyword optimization. You still need to do that. And previously, without AI being dominant in these applicant tracking systems, you could have just copy paste a bunch of keywords from a job description and just smack it on a resume. Just separate everything with a comma, repeat a bunch of them. You can just literally repeat the same word a bunch of times. Again, lots of old tricks in the bag where you can copy paste a bunch of the keywords on a resume and, kind of like block it out. Change the color, make the color white, background's white, the color's white, in the footer, in the header, in the bottom where you have space. You could have done those things. You would have got away with that. You would have beat the ATS much more effortlessly. Now, sure, there's a chance of, recruiters picking that out. But, when I saw that the first time, I'm like, oh, that's damn smart. Good for you, But again, those days of tricking the applicant tracking system, of poor keyword optimization, where you just make a laundry list, like a list of ingredients, all these bunch of keywords, just separate comma this, I have comma this, make a list of 10 softwares without explaining them. Those days are over. Today, you need to sound human. And the solution is storytelling. You need to explain how you utilize your skills. You need to explain where you worked, what you did, how you did it, and what happened at the end. Even what you learned from that experience, you need to be able to communicate effectively because AI is smarter than the old applicant tracking system and is able to read stories and would outrank the resumes that were written using storytelling frameworks. That would outrank those compared with the other ones that are just kind of like bunch of words on a piece of paper. Okay, so the words have to be there, but now we need to start telling stories and forming sentences, writing persuasive statements, going back to improved communication and effective persuasion. Last but not least, ensure you have time for personal development, personal hobbies, professional growth, because with AI, getting the interview becomes so much easier. Remember, it's not the most qualified person who gets the interview, it's the person who markets themselves better. So when you utilize AI tools and principles and frameworks and prompts that I'm going to teach you today, getting the interview is going to be much easier, much faster. You'll be a lot more effective at it. You'll be a lot more successful at it. But you still have the interview to go through. And again, that's the function of that's a function of interviewing better. So who communicates more clearly and confidently, and improving your communication and confidence can be supported by AI, as I will introduce you to a few tools, but it requires a lot of practice. It actually requires time. So you can invest whether, you're doing the practice initially with AI tools and then transitioning to practicing with a real human being. You need time for that. So again, I'll get into the limitations that AI has for interview practice, interview preparation, and the benefits it has, options, opportunities, but also, challenges, advantages, and disadvantages when it comes to interview practice. So my goal is for you to be able to see that, okay, wow, I really have opened up a lot of time in my day. I'm saving 3-4 hours a day. And okay, from those 4 hours, I'm going to play video games for 2 or hang out with my dog, or whatever, get an extra hour of sleep, which is what you really want to do when you're as old as me. And the other 2, I'll interview practice. So I just bought my time. I paid $20 a month for this AI tool and, $20 a month for the other AI tool. By just $40 a month, I'm saving 4 hours a day. That's my mission. That's my goal today. With that said, let's move on. Very briefly, just so we're on the same page. Why is personal branding important? We talked about marketability and brand development. It's because having a personalized brand is significant to this new contemporary job market that we have right now. And it ultimately is the strategy we need to improve our visibility, credibility, and creating what I quickly mentioned here as a differentiating factor. I've got a few links here I'll share with you in a new tab, and there's a specific reason why I didn't give you a picture or image. I Googled it, and I'm going to Google images so you can carry on and basically do these searches by yourself, read some articles about what are differentiation factors, watch some videos on them so you understand, why do you need to sound different and look different and communicate differently, keyword different. Because if you're not different, you're not going to be standing out. You're just going to be you're going to be lost in the crowd. You don't have to be more qualified. You don't have to be better educated. Those are not primary differentiation factors. You stand out by sounding differently. Again, we're in the attention economy. It's a function of marketing. So that's what having a strong personal brand. They take the word strong out, having a personal brand. Most people I talk to, they don't even, they either don't know what a personal brand is, have heard of it once, never pursued it, or just like, okay, what is that? I just want a job. I don't care. It's like, okay, well, that's why you haven't had a job yet, in the last 6 months. So you need to have an identity. A professional identity is another way you can visualize or imagine what a personal brand is your professional identity. Without it, you won't stand out. And what's the AI's role in crafting your personal brand or your professional brand? It is ultimately to help you come up with ideas. So ideation is what AI is fantastic for. Creating persuasive content. There it is again, the word persuasive. So you can have persuasive conversations, meaning conversations that people will actually respond to a conversation. Communication one way, communication the other way. Now we're having a conversation, and AI can help you with that, because that's not, unless you're a communication major or you work in marketing, or even better, if you work in sales, then you were trained on content writing, on copywriting, on selling persuasively, influencing others, how to do it through content, through words, through speech, through body language. Like, if you haven't worked in marketing or sales, then that's not part of your training. You're not supposed to know that. Hey, guess what? AI can help you with that. There's an AI app for that, and we're going to go through prompting more in depth today, which takes me to last part. Going through prompt engineering frameworks. Ultimately, I introduce you to them. We'll go through some basics. We'll cover mission statements completely. We'll cover how to write cover letters completely, A to Z of it. I'll give you an example. Those who are product managers are going to be happy because the example I've chosen this time is for a product manager. This is what's going to allow you to simplify that process, craft your personal brand, create content, and lean on the prompts I'm going to give you today to create new pieces of content, new statements, new letters for every new job opportunity that you face. Cool. All right. Let's take a 3-second delay here. Break. All right. Let's go through three different tools, or yeah, three different tools, primarily starting with headshots. Last time we ran this event, I introduced another headshot, AI headshot generator solution. I've made adjustments. I've tried 5 since then, the top 5 that were, that the internet had decided to be a top 5. I've picked Headshots.pro as my primary choice right now. Now, why are we starting from headshots? It's because what we look like is the most important part of our brand. So before people talk to you, before they speak to you, before they have a conversation with you, they're likely going to see what you look like. Even if you're walking through a room, before you get close to each other to shake your hand, let's say, you're going to see each other, and we're human beings. We're going to immediately judge each other based on how we look. With that said, and with LinkedIn being the #1 applicant tracking system in the world, the biggest candidate database, the #1 resource for recruiting, acquiring, looking for talent, and recruiting talent, it is critical for you to have a headshot on your LinkedIn profile. It is absolutely no excuse why you shouldn't have a headshot, and a professional looking headshot, because when someone goes to your LinkedIn profile and look at your photo, if there's a lack of photo, it's definitely a turnoff. If you have a bad photo, what kind of an impression is that really making, as we're talking about personal brand development? So they'll likely move on to the next person, or they might not even pay more attention. So you need to look your best. You need to, and that's part of persuasion, that's part of influence. If you have a big smile, if you're looking sharp, if you're looking good, if this is you at your best, it makes you more inviting, it makes you more magnetic. And when it comes to communication, when it comes to personal branding, another rule, so to speak, I want to share with you, which is the 738-55 rule of communication, that indicates that only 7% of the communication is done through verbal communication. The words we speak, those 7% of how effective we are with our brand, with our communication, with our presentation, is this only 7% are the words. Nonverbal communication, which is the tone of our voice, is how loud, how modular we speak. Do we sound confident, or do we sound like, not so sure? That shaky voice, that insecure voice, that voice that's kind of like unsure, I'm saying something, but it sounds like I'm asking something. 38% of total communication is that tone. If you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, that's exactly what it is. You don't know what you're talking about, even if the words coming out of your mouth are perfectly scripted. And thirdly, which is the most important thing, 55% of total communication is our body language. Body language in terms of exactly what you're looking at right now when you watch me in the video. Body language in terms of what you look at physically someone else, how they present themselves, how they sit, how they stand, how they posture themselves, what they look like. Are they smiling? Like, a smile is so critical. It's crazy how I have to remind people to smile when we go to interview practice. It's like such a simple thing, but like, can you please smile? When you smile, you look different, you look inviting, you look happy. I want to spend some more time with you when you smile. But if you constantly have a frown on your face, then it's like, it's challenging, it's tough. I don't know what's going on in that person's head. They're clearly not happy. Looks like they don't want to be here. So again, you're constantly being assessed, whether it's the picture on your LinkedIn profile, or you're actually here in Zoom in an interview, or if I'm meeting you for a meeting. Having a professional photo, so you present yourself, you put your best self out there, is critical, and this should carry forward to how you present yourself in meetings, whether they're digital or not. I've gone through and I've tested five. I've gone through more than five websites that offer AI generated Photoshop, AI generated headshots. Pricing is pretty much the same. Process is pretty much the same. I don't see much of a difference. I'm giving you honest feedback. At least three of the five tools that I use, I don't see much of a difference. So I had to expand my search and look at like not just personal experience on a macro level, look at feedback again, customer reviews. And with the price being the same and outcome being the same, at least for three of the tools, this is a tool that I chose. So you can see the process is pretty straightforward, and somewhere between $20 and $30 gives you more than enough headshots with more than enough variety. Some websites give you three, some four, some five, but it's pretty much the same. Sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 3 hours, sometimes it's 4 hours. I'm sure you're not going to be in a rush to get your headshot done. Just get it done today, get it done tomorrow. Go through with it, please. This is critical. It's important. I I can go more in depth talking about this during some of the personal coaching calls that I do on the weekends, or if you actually choose to go through the 3-day bootcamp next week, we can go further and guide you through it, help you pick the best headshot, ask you specific questions about environment, clothing, whatever it is. We can go really deep into this, but just not right now. My goal is for you to understand the principles of communication, the elements of communication, the 738-55 rule of communication, understanding that more than half of what we are communicating through our personal brand is our body language. The simplest first step is the image that we put out there from us, what we look like online out there. And later on is what we look like either on a digital meeting like this or a face-to-face interview, something like that. Cool. So again, with that said, we can talk about this forever. It's really important. I always talk about standing up. You're energetic. You can shake, you can present better, having different setups. I go through that with everyone when they go through job interviews. Different session, maybe during our, workshop, 3-day workshop, we'll talk about it. But for now, I cannot stress enough the importance of having a fully professional headshot. $20, $30, you're set for life. You're set for 5 years, and then get a new photo. Let's move on to the next part of personal brand development. And this is where understanding who you are, understanding and evaluating who you are, personality-wise, behavior-wise, what does your character, who are you characterically? Like, what do you like? What drives you? What negatively affects you? There are multiple aspects of our personality, of our behavioral patterns that when we understand, when we are aware of them, it allows us to communicate better, allows us to improve our marketability, allows us to understand what to do and what not to do, allows us to comprehend how we're being perceived. So it adds to your self-awareness. As we talked about in the past, we become aware of who we really are, who we aren't, and how we're being perceived, which is even more important because sometimes we have understandings of ourselves. I may think I'm this kind of person, I'm an introvert, I got OCD, so I got to really pay attention to details, and that makes sense because, I'm an engineer. I may have these things, but there's a chance I go through official, like traditional or like official personality assessment frameworks and tests, and I realized that no, I was misunderstanding my personality cues and my characteristic traits. This is not actually what I am. So it allows us to be able to self-evaluate more and realize that, okay, yeah, I am an introvert, but the reason I pay attention to details is different. Or you know what? I'm actually not a logical person. I'm more of an emotional person, which for me, that was a real one. I thought I was super logical. I realized that no, I make decisions based on feelings. So if you look at my DISC results or the 16 personalities results, I'm not a logical person. So that was a newfound fact for me. So with that said, it helps you be more confident when you are more self-aware, and when you're presenting yourself, whether it's on paper or online or in person, you're presenting yourself as you are, like verified, proofread, proven facts of this is who you are, this is how you come across, these are the environments you fit in well, this is the type of corporate culture that resonates with you, these are the advantages you have, these are the disadvantages you have, these are the positive traits, these are the negative traits. So understanding, performing some of these tests, whether it's discs or personality, uh, 16 personalities or Enneagram or Big Five, I actually suggest you go through all of them, especially on crystalknows.com. You can get most of them for free. This gives you such higher level of awareness and understanding. So whether, again, you're presenting yourself on the resume or online on LinkedIn or in a digital meeting like this or a personal interview, you're going to do a much better job at telling your story, setting the right expectations, and ensuring that the job you're interviewing for or that the company you're interviewing at actually can offer you the environment that you thrive in. Because different personalities thrive in different scenarios. And again, this might be this might be something new to you, but I want you to again look at it from an HR's point of view, from a recruiter's point of view. This is HR 101. This is human resource management class one, day one. So they understand it when they interview you, from the time they pick up your resume to evaluating your presence on the internet, on your LinkedIn profile, to the time they're exchanging messages with you, to the phone screening call with the recruiter, to the digital interview on Zoom, to the face-to-face meeting, your personality and your behavior, side note, behavioral interview questions, you're constantly being assessed for what kind of person are you? And are you going to thrive here? Are you going to survive here? Will you fit into our company culture? Will you align? Is your personality aligned with the type of dynamics we have in our team? Do you have similar core values as we do? As if I'm the hiring manager, I know my team, I know what's valuable to them, I know what's important to them, I know what makes them tick. I also know what they don't like to do. Are you going to be a fit? So I need to assess that during the interview process. Now imagine going to that interview process from the initial interaction with this information, with these insights. You have them, so you have clarity and confidence of who you are, well-rounded, 360-degree view, and where you should go, which environment fits you well, which team environment fits you well, and which ones you should stay away from with a 10-foot pole. And you can share this information with HR members, with the talent acquisition team members, with the HR manager or the recruiter. As part of, like we normally do it, anytime I make a recommendation would be right prior to, post application submission. When you have engaged that recruiter and there is a two-way conversation, because there has to be, you have to market yourself better. You have to be persuasive, get them to get back to you. So the two-way conversation is established. Then as you go through the initial call, screening questions are taken care of. So they know that, you have the basics of working there. You are basically qualified for that role. So you have the knowledge, you have the experience, years of experience and things like that. You have the skill set, the softwares. After that stage, moving to meeting with a panel or moving to a hiring manager interview, or even better or best aligned scenario would be prior to going to a behavioral interview, share your DISC results or share your Enneagram or 16 personalities results with that HR manager or with that recruiter. So because these are the tests they trust. Like these are industry-wide assessment, personality assessment tests. So you give them a heads up on who you are and who you are not, and you ultimately make it easier for them too, you know? And remember, you cannot trick the test. You cannot and should not try to trick the employer. You know, whether, even if you haven't had a job in a year and you're desperate, can't pay your rent, you just need a goddamn job as fast as possible. This is not, you do not want to utilize something like this as a way to get past everybody else. So maybe you can get hired faster. This is, I hope I'm not coming across as that. This is not a trick. This is a proven tactic that human resource managers and employers utilize to ensure that if and when they hire someone, that someone is going to be happy, it's going to be a good fit, is going to stay here for a long time, it's going to like it, it's going to be energized and motivated to do what they do. So they end up having high productivity and high performance. And for you, it needs, that should be your mindset as well. I want to go somewhere that I'm accepted the way I am. I am who I am. So accept me if you like that. If there's more people like that, like me in your department, in your group, in your team, and please don't hire me if this environment you have is misaligned to my personality. Make sense? So that's what Crystal knows does a great job at, multiple different personality assessment tests. Please, 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 please do them. This is, before even you enter the job market, this is a fantastic personal development, personal awareness tool, like individual awareness tool that allows you to figure out, okay, who you are and who you are not, because there's often misconceptions that we have about ourselves. They might even ask you, one of the common interview questions is, do any of your coworkers have any misconceptions about you? That is a common, as one of the top 5 culture fit questions. What are some of the misconceptions about you? So if you haven't done any tests like this, then you don't even know. You're not even prepared for that question. But you might go through it. When you go through it, you might identify some misconceptions that, okay, I come across as this, and that's potentially that can potentially result in a misconception about why I do what I do or why I behave this way. So when I go to an interview, whether I get that question or not, I can even present some misconceptions about what it's like to work with me. So please don't understand me. But in some cases, I'm misconcepted. I'm misunderstood. So I want to make sure we don't have that issue here. Cool? Makes sense? Awesome. Perfect. Let me take another sip of water. Let's do a bit more work. So here it's just a matter of, me picking my top 2 choices for headshots and personality assessments. Please do it. And I can get further into it next week in the workshop, or later on in the presentation, I'll offer you some additional free coaching that I do on Sundays. I can get into it there as well. And I've taken all those courses, all those tests. I can share with you what my personality is. It should make sense to you if you know me already. I can give you another platform as well. One of my previous coaches, she has a fantastic framework as well. We can get into those and really focus on personal development, professional growth. But for now, let's move on to content writing, because this is where you're going to have to learn a few things, and I'll give you some examples and ultimately specifically what specific AI prompts we are out to use to write mission statements and unique cover letters. Every new job, you must write a new cover letter for. It is no longer an excuse, because the common excuse is, I don't have time. Well, I'm going to show you how you can write a cover letter in like 2 minutes. Well, you're not going to write it. ChatGPT is going to write it, Yeah, 2 minutes. That's pretty fair. 1 to 2 minutes, you can generate a new cover letter. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to sound like something you have never seen before, which is exactly what the goal is to sound different, look different, feel different. Cover letters, we're going to go through A to Z. and mission statements. Mission statements are the first statements, basically the headline of your resume. The average resume I look at does not have a headline, does not have a purpose statement or an objective statement or a goal statement or a mission statement. I like all the mission statement. They're all the same. It's what do you want to do? It's like what's next for you? What am I looking at? This resume that you've sent me. What do you want to do? Do you want to work for us? What do you want to do for us? It's that initial statement that proposes your value. So you may have heard of a value proposition statement or a unique sales statement or an elevator pitch. They're all the same. They're all the same. So your resume, I was going to pick a few resumes and show you, but I chose not to do that for this session, but we definitely get into it in next week's 3-day bootcamp. You see the average resume lacks a mission statement, and it lacks direction, and often the recruiter moves on. It doesn't know what to do with this resume. It's like you giving me a tool. It's like, I don't know. What is this? What do you want me to do with it? I see it's post-it notes, but like, what do you want me to do with it? Why did you give it to me? Recruiters think like that. They need to be given a direction. You need to prompt them. You need to tell them like, this is why I'm applying for this job. This is what I believe I can do for you. This is what you get out of it. This is what's in it for you. I'll share with you another marketing framework. I forgot to add this to the presentation, but I will. So marketing or communication framework called WIFM, short form for what's in it for me. Whenever someone's reading your resume or looking at your email or getting to see you for the first time, you're communicating to them. You want something from them. You submitted a proposal or an application to me. Currently, you want to work for our company, but there's no clear mission statement. There's no headline. You're not telling me. So I don't know what's in it for me, because automatically the person reading your resume is thinking, what's in it for me? Like I received 350 resumes today. What do I get? I need everybody to tell me what it is that they specifically offer, what we get from hiring this person. So the WIFM formula is critical. It makes your communication crisp, and it significantly improves the chance of it improves your resume response rate. So the rate of people that actually respond to your resume, having a mission statement is fantastic. So let's go and talk about mission statements, and then we'll go right into cover letters. And then basically it's downhill from there. And again, you're going to have a copy of everything you see on this presentation, so you can duplicate it into your own realm, into your own field, into the job description that you're targeting right now and the ones coming up next. And a quick reminder to everyone, as I mentioned earlier, AI is only as good as the information you provide it, which is critical for us to be able to understand the information that's on the job description that we can actually use. Here, as a sample job description, I picked a senior product manager role at Adobe that they've been recruiting for a week. So it's still up, it's still active. Here's a job description. It says, changing the world through digital experience is what Adobe is all about. We give everyone from emerging artists to global brands everything they need to design and deliver exceptional digital experiences. We're passionate about empowering people to create beautiful and powerful images, videos, and apps, and transform how companies interact with customers across every screen. This is them talking about their vision, mission, and core values, what they're passionate about. This is often the first paragraph in the job description. Sometimes they put it at the bottom, like Meta likes to put it at the bottom. It just says about Meta, just puts it at the bottom. I like it when it's at the top, because when it's at the top, it follows the storytelling framework, the STAR method. The situation is the information about the company. Unfortunately, the average person that I interact with, whether it's a prospecting call, a general consultation call, or a coaching call, I used to be one of those people. We normally skip this first paragraph. We don't even read it. We realize that, okay, it has nothing to do with the job. This is not what they're asking me. So I'm just going to go to the bullet points or to the requirements. Let me see if I have the number of years of experience that are asking me. Let me see if I have the softwares they're looking for. That's the common behavior pattern of how job descriptions are read. So I want to beg you not to do that, because we're going to actually use this content. This is the most important piece of the job description. That's why it's the first paragraph. It follows the storytelling framework, the STAR method. This is the S of the STAR. This is the background story. This is the context. This is the foundation. This is their vision, mission, passions, and core values. Let's move on. Now we're talking about the person. This person they're describing to you that would have to thrive in this environment and would have to help them achieve their vision. Are you a high energy product manager with 5 to 10 years of experience building out outstanding user experiences in the software industry? If so, this team could be for you. We are looking for a qualified candidate that has a strong interest and experience in developing SaaS products, software as a service products. Strong analytical communication and leadership skills will be needed to help develop strategies and ongoing business and product direction. Demonstrated success in the digital asset management industry and a specific understanding of content lifecycle from concept to completion is also required. And here are all the bullet points they had on their responsibilities. It says what you will do. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 20 different bullet points. This one was a shorter one, so I'm glad it wasn't too crazy. This is the job description. The only part of the job description I did not include here are the qualifications. This is where it says you probably have a bachelor's in XYZ, education, and likely have 2 years of experience in here, and you probably have led people before. The qualifications are irrelevant. Irrelevant for the mission statement, irrelevant for the cover letter, often irrelevant because it's a guess of, we guess this person would have these combination of things. It becomes confusing or concerning to the job seeker reading the job description because of the terminology they use. Must have 5 years of experience, XYZ. Must have a bachelor's in this and that. It's the terminology they use that throws people off and say, I don't have that, so I'm not qualified. But that's not what the real world looks like. In the real world, if you can achieve what the person ought to achieve while following the company's core values, then it doesn't matter if you have a bachelor in X, Y, or Z. It doesn't matter if you have 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years of experience. What you really need to perform are capabilities or skill sets. We go through different experiences in our past to gain the similar set of skills. Some people learn faster than the others. Some people learn slower. Some people will never learn. So the guesswork of assessing how many years of experience or what your education qualifications are, it's nothing but guessing. So that's why I don't include it. Trust me, if it was important, I would include it, but it's not. So just keep that in mind. First paragraph, description of the company. Second paragraph, description of the person in that role, or sometimes they talk about the team as well. Sometimes there's a paragraph in between that describes the digital asset management team or department. That's cool too. It's like, okay, like a massive company, medium department, one team within that department. All that information is golden. And then we have, whether it's a list of 3, 4, 5, or 20 bullet points, that is the job description that we need. We skip the qualifications. From here on, we need to prompt. We need to, again, give the right prompt, right information to your, whatever your AI is, AI writing tool. I'm using ChatGPT, using this frame, the role, task, information, goal, expectation. So it's a 5-step framework that allows us to generate a mission statement and later on a cover letter that is going to be powerful, impactful, insightful, different, and effective, which is the most important thing. What I have underlined here is what you're going to replace with the information you get from the job description of your interest, but everything else remains the same. Role of AI here is to act as a copywriter who writes industry-specific resumes for a living. The task is to create a career mission statement for a fill in the blank job title, working at this company. Oops. I just want to make it underline. So, working at, get rid of the underline over there. Here's some information. So here's some information about the job description. This is me copying just the first 2 paragraphs. Your mission statement has nothing to do with your skill sets. It's really just mission. It's the goal, it's the objective, it's the purpose. So this is only the 2 paragraphs of the company, of the job description. Going to the next piece of the prompt. My goal is to include this mission statement on my resume. So use the STAR method of storytelling to ensure it grabs the attention of recruiters. And the expectation is, I'm expecting your tone to be professional. Keep the total length of the statement under 30 words. 30 words with a Calibri font number 11, basically takes, and margins, half an inch margin, basically fills 2 full lines in a resume, which is why I said 30 words. So with that, the purpose, the headline, the objective, the mission statement on that resume would be empowering exceptional digital experiences that will be by leveraging my SaaS expertise and understanding of the content lifecycle to innovate the digital asset management industry. This becomes the value proposition, the purpose, the goal, the direction, what you're offering, the value, describing what it is that you want to do and how you want to do it and who benefits from it. They benefit from it. Cool. Run this. I've now ran maybe hundreds of mission statements with this framework. They're beautiful. Sometimes you might have to change one or other thing. Maybe like here, I think it was like to leverage. I made it by leveraging. Those are like, you just massage it a little bit, but that's about it. Having a mission statement is critical. I couldn't stress enough. And it's normally the main thing that's missing from almost every resume. Let's move on. If you have questions, keep them. I'll answer them either later on at the end of this presentation, or if you really want to adopt these tools and these frameworks and these techniques during the 3-day workshop next week. Let's do the same thing for a cover letter. Same job description, same prompting framework. Now with cover letters, it is important for you to specify or include additional information about your top skills. Whether there were 4 bullet points under their skills or responsibilities in the resume, in the job description, or 20 bullet points under the responsibilities, only pick the top 3. And you want to prompt AI that says, my top 3 skills are, and you're copy pasting only the first 3 set of skills that are positioned as the top 3 responsibilities of the person in that role. Again, whether it's 3, 4, 5 bullet points or 20, only pick the top 3. That's how the mind works. You don't really want to go into really want to go into more than 3 different sets of skills on a cover letter. There's a reason they're top 3, and that's what mostly going to be required for that job. You don't need anything more. Framework is the same. We're going to have obviously additional information in terms of what our goals are. The goal is different here. We want to attach this cover letter to our resume, the content. And its content should be unique to your resume. There's a different copywriting framework we're going to use. So you need to prompt AI to use the PAS copywriting framework to structure your copy or to structure your content so that it's clear, concise, and persuasive. And the PAS framework stands for Problem, Agitation, Solution, which is a powerful communication framework that you need to use. You need to use to write, but you need to also use to talk about your skills. When they say sell your skills, you need to use the PAS framework. Your skill is your solution. So before you talk about your solution, you have to first talk about the problem that you solve with it. What happens if the problem goes unsolved? So these are consequences of the problem going unsolved. And now that there's a sense of urgency, now that you have positioned your skill as the solution, then you present it. That's how you sell your solution. That's how you sell your skills. So in short, You start by identifying your reader's problem and agitating it so they understand the full context of the issue. Then propose my top 3 skills as the solution. I'm expecting, again, this is the last part of the framework. I'm expecting a persuasive letter addressed to the hiring manager. For this position, your tone should be friendly and conversational, not professional, not sounding like a book, like a robot. Friendly and conversational. End the letter by including a direct call to action, inviting the hiring manager to a conversation where you can discuss how you can work together to achieve their mission. This is powerful, so powerful. Part of the prompt. Include a subject line that's click-worthy, clickbaity, click-worthy, attention-grabbing. It's a hook, marketing hook from those that have a marketing background to grab the hiring manager's attention. Keep the total length of the letter within 200 words. Now, side note, you want to create a cover letter for every new job description. And remember, I cannot stress this enough, and this often confuses people. You don't need your resume. You may have already noticed this, that nothing on this prompt, this big prompt, no information comes from your resume. It's irrelevant. We have made one assumption, and that assumption is that the top 3 skills that they are looking for, you actually have. If you don't, take something else. So let's say you haven't engaged with anybody in sales and marketing. Take that out. Okay, but ideally, you want to look at these as skills. Do I have the skills to engage with diverse partners and different teams? If you have the skills, yeah, keep it. The confusing part is that, but I haven't done that before. I always get that question. But in my last job, my current job, I don't work with the sales department. Like, okay, you haven't had the experience, but do you think you have the skill set? Do you have the capability? Can you talk to the sales department, sit down, see what they want, help them put together a campaign? Or engineering? I know you're telling me you haven't worked with engineering in the past, but do you think you can work with them right now? Do you want to? Are you interested? Do you think you have the skill set and capability and confidence to actually sit down with an engineering team member and help them figure out customer requirements? Look at it as the skill sets that you possess right now versus the experiences of the past. Because you don't necessarily have to have experience with something to have developed that skill. And the skill is engaging with diverse partners, cross collaboration. That's primarily what I encourage you to think about. That should be your mindset or your perspective. If that's challenging, if you see something, read something, and say, you know what, I've never done this, then modify these. Take pieces out of the top 3 skills, but you do not need to bring anything from your resume, because if you bring in some things from your resume, it's irrelevant. The cover letter should be specific to their top requirements and the top 3 responsibilities required for a senior product manager at the digital asset management group of the Adobe to perform well. These are the top 3 requirements. So we need to work with the content that's presented to us, not by uploading our resume and say, oh, here, by the way, here's my resume. That's where things get all messed up. And then when you run your cover letter, or you double check the cover letter, or even different documents with the job description, you realize there's discrepancies. There's things that I have on the cover letter that don't match the job description. And the problem was that you fed AI, you included too much data, you included too much information. Do not feed your resume to it. This is against popular understanding. It's against almost every resume writing or cover letter writing AI website or platforms that I see online. They ask for your resume, and that's where things get messed up. That's where things get really messed up. You need to show Adobe a cover letter that speaks to their needs. Everything on this cover letter should be relevant and significant. With that said, that click-worthy, persuasive headline or subject line of that email is driving Adobe's digital experience innovation together. Again, sense of belonging. camaraderie, and the value is theirs. It's not you. I'm applying for this job. I'm interested in this job. It's like, oh, of course you're interested in this job. Guess what? We're Adobe. Everybody wants to work here. Hello. We don't want that language. We want a language that's beneficial to them. Everything I'm saying, everything that comes out of my mouth is to your benefit. Get your name and a title of job in there. If there's a job number ID, sure, included. But this is the tip of the spear. This is the marketing hook. With that said, include the hiring manager's name. If you don't know how to get that person's name, I can definitely go through it in next week's workshop through advanced searches on LinkedIn. You got to have a person's name. You cannot address a letter to your hiring manager. Like, there's no person called hiring manager. You have to have a person's name. You at least get as close as you possibly can. You take an educated guess. You include a director of product management within their digital asset management group. They could have 3 of those directors. You at least got to get one real person's name on there. All right. This is the PAS framework, the problem agitation solution framework. This is what makes your letter persuasive. Here's how it starts. This is the problem. At Adobe, where transforming digital landscapes is paramount, the challenge lies not just in creating, but continuously evolving products to meet and exceed market demands. The rapid pace of digital transformation calls for a dynamic approach to product management, one that seamlessly integrates customer insights and foresight into market shifts. In my 10 years of experience, my 10 years within the software industry, I've noticed companies struggle to align their product strategies with the intricate dance of customer needs and competitive dynamics. This often leads to missed opportunities and lagging innovation. These are the consequences. This is you agitating the problem. This is why it's so important to integrate customer insights into your market shifts, into the product. Now we get into the solution. I bring a robust track record of designing, developing, and leading comprehensive product lifecycles tailored specifically to enhance user engagement from conception through to completion. My hands-on experience in synthesizing market data and direct customer feedback allows me to craft precise product requirements that drive successful outcomes. I'm eager to bring my expertise in SaaS product management and digital asset management to Adobe, and I would welcome the chance to discuss how my background, skills, and enthusiasm align with the goal of your team. Could we schedule a time to explore how we can work together to achieve Adobe's vision for digital experience innovation? Always end your cover letter with a direct call to action, which is a question, which is an invite to a conversation where we can discuss how we can get things done together. That's what makes it inviting, persuasive, and they see that, yeah, you are right. This is true. And yeah, it would be a missed opportunity if we don't address it. And, seems like, very briefly, seems like you have the amount of experience that you have. It makes sense. And sure, I would be interested. Like, it would be crazy to say, no, I don't want to talk to you so we can talk about how we can achieve Adobe's vision. It makes sense. It's inviting. It's not confronting. It's confident. There's a clear problem. There's a clear consequence if we don't address that problem. And there is a solution being proposed and an invite to a conversation where we can discuss how that proposal can be implemented. So Adobe achieves their vision, not Albert getting a job at Adobe. It's not about me. It's not about the person writing the cover letter. It's about them and ultimately their end users, their customers. Always make it about them and their customers. Either they have internal customers, could be shareholders, could be company's revenue, or actual end user. Cool. So again, we can talk about this further. We can give different examples. I definitely will during next week's workshop, 3-day workshop. Come on, go to the next page. Here we go. Let's go through the next phase. From here on, things are going to be downhill, so I'll go through it more rapidly. It's really sharing with you, giving you understanding, giving you sources, my top choices, my top selections for the tools for specific applications. Moving on to streamlining the job search process. And for you to understand why we need to streamline it, you need to first understand the challenges and the obstacles of the traditional job searching methodologies. This is a framework or a process I always talk about. You see this piece of content on my LinkedIn. It's sitting there on my LinkedIn profile all the time. And it addresses the mistake the average person makes when they go about looking for a job. I used to go to those people for 8 months after graduation. I was looking for work incorrectly. And for another 3-4 years after that, I was still job searching incorrectly, primarily focusing on job boards and recruiting agencies. Now, I had a weird life that the recruiting agency wanted to hire me, and I was just in such a bad place saying, you know what, heck, forget it. I'll work for you, take me completely outside of the tech sector. But hey, I ended up loving it and liking it and working with technology professionals and engineers. I landed on my feet, but it was a total fluke. What I ultimately learned while I was working in that recruiting company was I learned how hiring was done. I learned the solution to hiring and recruiting. I realized that the opportunities are given to internal promotions. And if promotions internally or lateral moves were not available, then referrals were the most successful hiring program. Quickest, fastest, easiest, didn't cost anything. If that doesn't work, the company, the employer begins networking. Number one platform for networking, LinkedIn. If that doesn't work, we'll go through different associations, organizations. If that doesn't work, we'll outsource it to a recruiting agency. If that doesn't work, we'll start plastering it, advertising it online. But there's a lot of ifs. So by the time the job is either outsourced to a recruiting agency or a job board, 80% of jobs are filled. And they're filled, from those 70-80%, a good 50-60% of jobs are filled through them networking to find you and them receiving referrals. So this is a function of you having a presence on LinkedIn, having engagement, having activity, good content. You're able to be found. You're socially engaging, socially networking yourself, and you're making connections. So you actually are getting referred to the employer, to a hiring manager, to even a recruiter. Referrals are the most important, the most successful of hiring programs. Just keep that in mind. Again, avoid looking for work backwards in this direction. Follow the standard operating procedures in the same direction that the employers go about job searching. And when you learn that, okay, there are multiple different things I can do, I would allocate more time to networking, let's say 2 hours a day, and then building my presence and activities on LinkedIn, okay, 1 hour a day. And then I'll spend another 30 minutes on recruiting agencies and job boards. So 2 hours referrals, 1 hour networking, half an hour job boards. In that kind of like breakdown, you obviously manage your day, you know what to do, how much time you have available, but make sure it's not the other way around. Make sure it's not 2 hours on job boards, 1 hour on, building your presence, and make sure when they're networking, you can be found. And then 30 minutes, 15 minutes, if most people don't even do it, gaining referrals, going after referrals. Make sure it's not the other way around. The way you allocate your time, resources, and energy is from bottom up. More time and energy invested in this strategy in referrals, then more to networking. Social organizations, professional organizations could be events like in-person events, job fairs, and things like that. Effective, but just not as much as you think, though more effective than agencies and job boards. Now, with that said, now that we have AI, we can pretty much automate and streamline all the online advertisements and the job board activities that traditionally, with the average person that I talk to who isn't familiar with how hiring is done, they're spending most of their time, if not all of the time, filling in job applications. With that said, There's an AI for that. There's actually a long list of tools with that. I'm going to go through another list in the next slide, but after now 2 months of testing this, going through at least 10 different platforms, painstakingly just going through all the options, see their support, see their functionality, read about the reviews, micro picture, macro picture, my number one tool right now. It hasn't changed from last month that I did it. I was referred to Teal, and I doubt it's going to change because they're industry leading, they have good funding, and they have a good team behind them. I hope it doesn't change because they're my favorite, user friendly. But right now, it's Teal. I won't go through it because this is something I've reserved for the 3-day AI workshop to show you guys how to set it up, what the platform is like, the user experience, the alerts, the tracking, company research, resume, like everything. It's very all encompassing, and it automates, streamlines, speeds up, accelerates that top of the funnel, top of the pyramid advertisement and job boards process. So you ultimately have more time for proactive networking to get referrals and social marketing, social networking, if you will. So you need to have a tool like Teal. I highly encourage you to set up an account. Start with the free account. Get used to it. If you want to learn how to use it professionally, join the 3-day AI bootcamp next week. And from there on, you'll see what options or features you have with the free choice and which ones you have with the paid choice. Ultimately, you're going to be upgrading. And whatever tool I'm about to introduce to you today, or whatever AI tool that you're going to see, yeah, they do offer you free choices, but guess what? You barely can do anything with the free choice. So if you're looking at tools, just always go for the paid one. I've done the tests. I've gone through it. It's not fun when they give you crappy results, but it should also not be a surprise because you didn't pay nothing for it. It's like the difference between ChatGPT 3 and 4. Get 4 if you want the best results. If you don't, work with the third version. With that said, here is another list of job search automation acceleration tools. There are similarities, there are some differences. I'm not going to go through doing advantages and disadvantages, but I want to share with you a list of other platforms that I give a thumbs up to. My choice, my number one choice, because ultimately you need only one of them. Don't sign up for Teal and Careerflow because then they're going to end up applying to the same jobs for you. Like, I cannot see a scenario in anybody's life where you would have two different softwares doing the exact same thing for you. But if you're already using one of these and you don't want to switch, you already have the platform set up and you have your accounts set up, your tracking applications, I would say, you know what, just keep using it. Keep using it. Don't switch to Teal. That would be my primary choice. But Ladders, Careerflow, Ramped, JobScan, Kick Resume, Hunter, I'll give it a thumbs up to. And I'd say go with it if you're already with them. And there is a list to avoid. So avoid these tools for the same purpose: job search automation, streamlining, activation, acceleration. I'm not going to tell you one by one why I'm saying no to one of them, but when I did my research, again, there's a longer list too, but my research resulted in either negative feedback, like pure negative feedback, bad customer experience, bad results, not enough info, or poor funding. I've even looked at, like, these are all startups. I've looked at their funding. So either, again, poor presence, poor info, lack of feedback, negative feedback, or poor funding. I would say, you know what? Skip these. These 9, I put 9 on this screen. So if you see something that's familiar that perhaps you're currently using, or maybe you were advised to use it, especially these guys are all over like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. They obviously there's money to to be made here. They all offer, again, the old crappy free version, but also the paid versions. Prices are pretty much all the same, between 20 and 40 bucks a month. But it's not worth it. It's not worth some of the horror stories I've heard and read, and some of the insecurity, and some of the lack of development. Like they haven't done anything with it in like 8 months. Like, you can't even get a hold of them. It's like, for one of those many reasons, I would say avoid these tools. And that takes me to the last part of the presentation, which is about interview preparation. Some foundations I want to set with you here should be pretty straightforward. The importance of enhancing your communication skills. We talked about this in the past. Earlier today, the 7-38-55 rule of communication. We figured out that what you say and how you say it plays a critical role in developing your confidence and interview performance. And obviously, what you look like when you say it, what you say, how you say it, and what you look like when you say it. Do you sound confident? Do you sound iffy? Do you sound insecure? Do you sound clear? Right? That I want you to keep in mind. There are also limitations to using AI in interview preparation. I mentioned that I was going to talk about this today. AI is giving you feedback on the word usage, pauses, fillers. It can be helpful in allowing you to understand, how you come across, your tone of voice. It may have, depending on the tool, again, I'm going to introduce you different ones. It may have insights on what it's like to work at a particular company. Certain tools do assessments and make judgment calls on whether this company or this job would be a good fit for you. There's differences. Again, I'm gonna give you a list that I agree with. There's a lot of similarities and some minute differences, but ultimately, most of those tools are still not doing a great job at assessing your body language. Some help you with eye contact, with smiling, with posture. It is not as good as I like it to be. To say, you know what, you don't need to practice with a real human being, because AI is doing a great job at that. But still, to this day, I would say you want to get your body language checked with a real unbiased person, someone who can look at your environment, look at your technology, look at the experience of speaking with you. Simple as, how you initiate a conversation. Are you smiling? Are you excited? What does your energy say about you? So that's where a real human being comes in, and that becomes a limitation of AI. And ultimately, I want to share with you a few different specific platforms for interview practice right now, because practice makes perfect, or in this case, perfect practice makes perfect. With that said, similar to what I shared with you in the previous page, there are lots of different tools. I have my top pick, and I'll be very honest and upfront with you. With this organization, I've actually partnered with them, so I've become a member of their development team, not the software development team, but I'm bringing the industry insights to them. 13, 14 years of coaching and recruiting, and they're a team of 3 software developers, senior full stack software developers that are building this platform. We're in the beta mode, launching end of May. So the website's not going to look all advanced, but the AI works very well. I'm going through the process with them. Again, I'm one of their partners. I'm going to start promoting this platform as I'm doing it right now, starting next month aggressively, because rather than this tool going wide and covering all kinds of things, like, just improving your communication skills across the platform, across industries, where, Udly is a great tool for that, for becoming a better public speaker, or interview warm up, or my interview practice. These are all encompassing, very wide platforms. Nothing wrong with them. Obviously, they cost more. What I really got attracted to in this case, in Star Method Coach, is very singular application, and that's training the Star Method. It's your storytelling AI tool, because ultimately, the average person going to an interview, based on my decade and a half of experience, does a poor job at telling their own story to begin with, and then answering behavioral questions, which is always a story. Tell me about a time you worked with someone who was difficult to get along with. What was the, tell me about a time you worked, you had to overcome a conflict. A lot of those questions. Tell me about a time you were asked to do something you had never done before. What type of leadership style resonates with you best. You cannot explain what kind of leadership style resonates with you best. You actually have to tell them about a time. It's always the story of the past experiences. You have to take them through the STAR method. In this situation, I faced this task. These are the actions I took. This is what I learned from that experience. This is the result of that experience. These 4 parts of the story in my real life, this is what happened. That's storytelling. That's STAR method that I'm pretty sure everyone here has heard about. The reason why I got attracted to actually partner with this company, help them develop it, is that unique and singular application, singular purpose. It's all hands on deck for storytelling. Now, different functionalities. Again, you can click on this link and figure it out. A very simple website to go through. I'll definitely dive deep into this next session next week in a 3-day workshop for those who attend. And this is something that I'm going to actually adopt in my own coaching practice as well, getting my existing clients to embrace it and improve their storytelling abilities. Aside from that, other tools on the right-hand side, I've used them all. I like them all. I'm into conversations with 2 of them. Perhaps possibility for us to partner, for me to actually get some additional support from them, get you guys some discount codes. For this tool, I actually do have a 25% discount code. So again, that's one of the benefits of becoming a partner to these software companies. So I can pass on those savings on to you. But any of these, Pramp, interviewing.io, myinterviewpractice.com, if you're already using them, go for it. I got nothing against them. They all have their own benefits. They all have good feedback. They're all are great platforms. Okay. And I think we are pretty much done. Last but not least, sorry for taking so long. I think we crossed 90 minutes a few minutes ago. I'm here to encourage you, empower to adopt these tools and strategies. So AI tools coupled with career development principles and strategies, so you can market yourself better, improve your personal brand, communicate more effectively, speak more persuasively, so that you can land job interviews and job offers. I want to remind you that it is not about qualifications. Taking another course is not going to help you much during the job search process. When you get the job, you get a job offer, sure, go take Python, take whatever course you want to take on the job. Get the employee to pay for it. In the job search process, collecting these certificates. This is something we see often on LinkedIn. I'm happy to announce that I've passed my Python certificate. We all gather around. We are, woo, fantastic for you. Did it actually help you get more job interviews? No. Does it make you better at using Python? Yeah, it does. But it doesn't help you land more interviews or job offers. It's not qualifications based, unfortunately. I want you to have more time for fun, personal hobbies, professional growth. So embracing these AI tools open up your time. Obviously, you get the results you want, you get more job interviews, more job offers, but it improves your work-life balance. Frankly, it's a big part of my mission, as I shared with you earlier. Last but not least, everyone here who's attending this session, I encourage you to join my personal coaching community. I have 4 free training courses that goes more into accelerating your career transitions, improving your productivity, and boosting your job search results. These are 4 mini courses, excellent feedback. Hundreds of people have gone through it. They're completely free. I started offering them for free in January this year. So go through them. This is the link. It's a private, closed community, so you have to submit a request to join. All I need from you is the link to your LinkedIn profile, so I can verify your account, make sure we get no bots or nothing fishy in there. It's a professional group moderated by myself. I invite all of you to get there. With that said, I'm going to pass the mic on to Albert. I'll keep the screen on here. I'll see where Albert wants to go. We can go on talk about embracing AI in your job search, our 3-day virtual boot camp. If anyone's interested to learn about, again, what this boot camp's about, we have a 40% off discount code. I'm including additional support. I'm offering additional coaching for free, not as part of the same bundle. So all that stuff, I won't get into it right now. I'll see what Albert wants to do. If someone's interested,
Yeah, we'll
they've
talk about
got
it. Yeah.
value from this presentation. Stay here with us, maybe 15 more minutes. Maybe we can answer some questions, and after that, I'm totally open, and I'm actually planning on offering a private Q&A session. I just want everyone to kind of like take a 30-minute break. For you guys to take a 30-minute break, and for me to take a 30-minute break, catch my breath, and then meet you guys in my private Zoom meeting link for additional discussions.
Yeah, so the purpose of this 3-day virtual boot camp is, and this is the first time we're doing it. If you've enjoyed Nader over the last hour 45, you know he's covered a lot of different job search tools. And what we're going to spend next week doing is we're going to deep dive into all of those job search tools in this program. And what that's going to offer you is the chance to not only learn what it means to use AI in your job search, but also get your hands dirty, learn how to prompt engineer, and also use them in a practical situation, which is through your job search. And so, Nader, you're going to cover three different topics across 3 different days, right? Where folks are going to learn how to use AI in some particular situations. Let's talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. So the event's going to be on the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Same time as today, 5. I'm planning on a 90-minute session. Likely it'll end up being 2 hours, so 3 2-hour sessions. I'll definitely go as far as 2 hours. Uh, Event with tickets are on sale, will continue to be on sale, like available to purchase for $497. Albert and I decided to each pitch in $100, basically to give you guys, pass on the $200 discounts to you guys. So for $297, he is going to drop a discount code somewhere in the chat, or he'll get that discount to you guys, which will be available until midnight tonight to take advantage of that $200 discount. After Albert and I are done here, we'll take a 30-minute session. And before you guys go, I'll share with you a link to my private Zoom link. If you're interested, if you have some questions, you want to get some assurances or whatever's on top of your mind, we'll meet in 30 minutes and we'll answer those. I'll answer those for you. But briefly, the descriptions here, but briefly, I'll walk you through it. What day one will focus on is personal brand creation and development and content creation. So I'm going to attempt to take everybody through my own career coaching program, which I teach over 4 1-hour sessions, but spread it out through 8 weeks. And that's a $2,000 program. I'm condensing that into, let's call that 6 hours, so 3 2-hour sessions within those 3 days using these AI tools. So that's going to be a fascinating achievement. This is what I've been practicing to actually be able to deliver this training. And I'm confident to say that I can. First attempt at that will be next week. The savings speak for themselves. Whether you get the discount price or not, you're gaining what I charge an individual $2,000 for $500. If you get the discount for $300, going through day number 1, developing all personal branding documents. So that includes the cover letter that we just learned, but also your resume. So you would submit your resume to me for the boot camp, bring it with you. I'll pick, depending on how many who we actually get, I'll have samples. Let's say we go pick 3 resumes, and I'll show you how quickly, how rapidly and effectively you can use AI prompts and frameworks to do your entire resume based specifically for a particular job description. So you can submit job descriptions, your resume and your top job description, so we can provide examples. If we get 10 people, I'll aim to do at least 3 examples. So everybody learns. We get 3 lucky people in there, but everybody learns the AI platforms. You have all the details, obviously, just like today. So you can apply it to your own resume for a particular job. It used to
And
be
what's also
challenging to
different
redo
too,
your resume.
what's also different too, I should say, is that this is in webinar mode. So if you want to talk to Nader and come off audio to speak to him, there's also a chance to do that as well. And you'll also have a chance to speak to me too, since I'll be on these as well. And we'll be sharing our screens and walking you through them. And you get to have the chance to have your browser open as well. So if you've never had a chance to use an AI solution, or you're just kind of sleepwalking through your prompting, this is your chance to make that difference. And if you really want to be held accountable for what it is that you're doing as well, so you know that you're on the right direction to using AI in your job search.
100% great addition. It's going to be like an actual workshop. We're going to work, we're going to get things done. My goal is when you leave, like you got a new resume. So again, it used to be challenging to develop a new resume for every job description. And I used to get it, but today I don't get it anymore. So if someone asks me, do I need a new cover letter, new resume for every job? The answer is yes. Before they finish their question, the answer is yes. Because it's quick, it's efficient, it's fast, and it significantly increases your chances of success. Getting past the ATS, getting the right keywords in there, and getting through the ATS, not just by words, by stories, because ultimately a real person looks at your resume and aims to read it. So we need to be able to articulate our skills. We talked about the PAS framework, and I mentioned the PAS framework is a framework we use to sell your skills. So I'll show you exactly what your skills are, what the top skills are, and how to combine your skills with the job description requirements and use the PAS framework to articulate it clearly so you sell your skills. They see that they have a problem and you're offering the solution to their pain, to their problem. We're going to go through specific cases to make resume customizations, modifications, and there's some things we got to avoid. So over standardization is what happens when you basically, I hate to pick up one of these tools that I actually recommended today, but they're not perfect. Even ChatGPT is not perfect. You have to get it, take its advice with a grain of salt. And that's ultimately where I can come in and make sure, you don't fall into these traps or you take no risks. But let's say resume scan. It's a common resume scanning optimization tool. If you're only using the same platform, you're feeding it the resume, you're feeding it a job description and saying just like scan my resume and give me recommendations, it's way too standardized. You've seen a small sample of what I do for to put together a framework for a prompt, and it was like a whole page versus like, here's my resume, here's my job description, click a button, or very short, like 2 sentence prompts. At the least, we want to go through a 5-step prompt framework. And likely, I'll take you through, well, not likely, I am going to take you through a 6-step prime framework. And the 6th version that I did not go into today, it is specifically for the use of resumes. So I will give you samples of resumes that I've written, I've developed, so you have exact templates, like real people's resumes. We'll be taking the names off of them, but this is real examples you can give it, and you prompt AI with examples. You can say, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the framework we already had, and there's a 6th one is examples. Have this example in mind and generate my resume based on this example. So again, that makes the 6-step framework. So that's what's going to allow us to mitigate taking any risks and do not over standardize. That's going to be all day number 1. Content creation, content development. And one thing I think I missed here was LinkedIn, because I also am going to get into the LinkedIn section, content for LinkedIn. So this is not just for your resume there, for your LinkedIn's about section as well. Number one, the worst part of anybody's LinkedIn profile is their about section. Either they don't have it, or they just basically copy paste something from their resume. They have a paragraph. They're just summarizing their past experiences, which is just not, that's not what the about section. The about section is not about you. That's what I normally say. This is not about you. It's about what you want to do. It's about your vision, mission, core values. It's about the industry. There's another framework you need to go through so you can gain the attention of people in the industry you want to attract. If you're just summarizing what's already on your resume, or if you're just summarizing what they can find in your experience section, it is redundant. It is not a summary. It is a different framework. So not just the resume in day number one, it is also the content of your LinkedIn profile. And day number two is actually using LinkedIn. So if you look at that, if you remember that multicolored triangle that we talked about, we have job boards and career websites, and we aim to automate some of those processes, all of those processes, hopefully using a platform like Tier. That way we have more time for proactive job searching, proactive networking, and social networking, which is building your brand online, building your presence on LinkedIn. Day number two is all about leveraging AI to make new connections, attract more people to you, improve your profile's positioning and industry ranking. So this is my favorite, because this is actually where the rubber meets the road, and we're actually getting interviews, and we're booking interviews, and we're being contacted. So we're going to go through content creation and content distribution, again, using AI. If you're not sharing content or engaging with content through, let's say, commenting through other people's posts and recruiters' posts and hiring managers' posts and company-specific posts, because you find that to be kind of like nerve-wracking. Well, again, there are specific prompts and frameworks for that, so you can create insightful, engaging comments that position you as a thought leader in your industry when you're commenting on your favorite companies, your target companies' posts on LinkedIn. And we're all going to go show you how to find the right people. So who are the recruiters and who are the hiring managers? There's no AI for that, but I teach that. It takes me 10 minutes to teach it. I teach it to every one of my private clients, and it's a complete game changer for them. But when it comes to writing messages, the invitation message, introduction message, follow-up messages, I'll share with you again all the frameworks and strategies to connect, establish a dialogue, and maintain that conversation. So again, most people don't do networking because they don't know what to say. Or even worse, they connect to people without an invitation message, and they say, oh yeah, my name is this, I graduated from this school, I'm looking for a job. Are you hiring? They jump right to the conclusion. They they don't waste any time asking for food, and that is that turns people off. You should work towards that. You should get them to know you a little bit more, like you and trust you, as we talked about. Know you, like you, and trust you. At least know you and like you before they begin to want to help you. Before they hire you, they gotta trust you. But let me get to know you and like you a little bit more, before you ask me for a favor. That's the impression if you jump to the conclusion with your messaging. So bad messaging is like taking a shotgun to your leg. Third day is all about interview practice with AI. So again, there's one tool that I shared with you that I'll go a bit more deeper into, STAR method. What I teach to my personal private clients, STAR method 2.0, which is STAR with another R. So there's another R after that. So I'm calling it STAR 2.0. I came up with that myself, but it's a 5-step framework. It's a 5-step formula. There is a more advanced version as well, which is a 6-step formula. Maybe I actually go into that as well. We'll see. But STAR 4-step framework is pretty standard. Everybody knows that. There's a 5-step and more advanced 6-step story that I'm more than comfortable sharing with everyone. Okay, that's exactly what I teach my private clients. That makes them, expert communicators, and again, very, very persuasive, very impactful from the listener's point of view. Quick breakdown. Again, we're going to talk about company insights, industry insights, again, using data analytics platforms. So, when you're doing research ahead of an interview, you have the right details, you have the right information, and we can use that information to frame questions. We can again go through the job descriptions as well as the company details to frame questions around who they are, what they do, products, services, customers, and users, vision, mission, core value, passions, things like that. And we have to be ready to ask questions during interviews. And last but not least, we'll go through behavioral interview questions. We'll do a few mock interviews showing you how those tools work. And as I shared with you earlier, there are limitations to AI tools for interview practice. So what I'm including in this special offer, so on top of the $200 off, which is available till midnight tonight, anybody who signs up, Albert will have that list. Will also get access to my weekend workshops. You know what? I'm in a good mood right now, so I'll make it 3 months. I was just going to say 1 month of access to the workshops, but I'll say 3 months, and I'll write down 3 months right now so I don't forget about it. But that's basically $20 per month, $5 a workshop. I'll offer you 3 months access for free. Every Sunday from 2 p.m. Pacific, I go for 2 hours, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific. So that's where we can get an environment like this, practice together, prepare together, do mock interviews, go through questions. But that's no AI is in there. That's just you and me on camera, everybody else bringing your questions. Let's practice together, learn from one another, and improve and get better at interviewing. So hope that helps. I'll stop sharing the screen. I'll let Albert take the wheel, and I guess he's going to share with you how the code works and how the sign up process works and everything.
Yeah, so the code is actually right within the Eventbrite link that I just shared. So it's right here. And if you want my email, I'll go ahead and drop that here as well. As you all know, Nodder is doing a Q&A a half hour after this ends. So what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and he will go ahead and drop the link to that here in the attendees or in the chat. So hopefully you have that Zoom link ready to go so folks can go and join up. And then we'll go ahead and have you all go in there. So yeah, please send me an email. If you have any questions, we're here. Look, the thing about Albert's List, if you've been here before, if this is your first time, we're all about doing this transparently. We're not going to try and sell you up on a in from a 3-day boot camp into a $10,000 community into $20,000 one-on-one coaching. This is pretty much it. I've got a day job. Notter's got a lot of coaching clients, and so we want to try and deliver the greatest value that we can in the least amount of time. The discount is good until midnight tonight Pacific time. So starting right now until midnight, you have 4 hours and 56 minutes to get your life together. I mean that in a fun way. Don't take that the wrong way. You have 4 hours and 56 minutes to use the code so you can join us next week. And so, yeah. And so if you've signed up, we're happy to see you there. Nadar and I will run this regularly as much as we can, given the advancement in AI tools. So do come back in the future. And we also have other content that you can join us for as well. But in specifically for this one, right? It's 3 days. 6 hours, probably a little bit more in total. A great way to learn all the AI solutions out there. Ask all the questions that you want, all the questions that you need. We will handhold you through the process with your laptop, and you can learn how to find jobs and stand out and be competitive. So, and Nader just dropped his email as well. So feel free to reach out to him through that as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and drop that link one more time. And we'll also follow up with all of you in a little bit as well, so you can ask any of those questions. Nader, do you have a link to this as well off of the site that you were
The
sharing?
presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go
I think
to
folks just wanted to grab some of the tools as
share,
well and get started there.
share, copy, and paste. There you go. So someone can someone click on that and make sure it works? Last time we had a little issue.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it should. Last time I had made a mistake. Yeah, it definitely works.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome, everyone. Let's take 30 minutes from now,
Yeah.
and then I'll be in my Zoom link. Uh, I'll drop the Zoom link one more time in here. If you have any questions, thoughts, whatever, join me and I'll answer them there. We'll let Albert go, and
I'll
thanks,
follow up
Albert.
with
Thanks for
everyone
hosting
else
this.
who may want to come back as well, and we'll get some good questions answered. And look, this is I work with Nader because he's also very transparent, and if and he will answer all of your questions in that Zoom link. So go to that Zoom link, join him in 30, and grill him. And he will have all the answers for you. And if you can't answer those questions, hopefully I can. So we'll see you there. I will send a recording out for this as soon as I can with Notter's link, and I'm gonna copy and paste that myself. And we'll all see you in a good half hour. Enjoy your break, and we'll see you all soon.
See you soon, guys. Bye.
All right, sounds good. Bye.